Welcome to the Football Show, sponsored by Indigo Communications. We are on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and if you hit the subscribe button, you can join the football family. The figures going up and up of people subscribing to the channel and watching the programme on a regular basis. Thank you so much for your support, and don't forget also, if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you'll get all the breaking football stories as well as looking at some of our unique content. Delighted to say Ruffy's here as ever alongside Tam McManus and Alison McConnell, and the great news is that Ruffy's had too many days living on your own at the moment, Ruffy, so you've started to do the hoovering, which is great news for anybody, our listeners. That could be a competition. Come and get Ruffy to come to your house and hoover your house.
Actually happened once at my old haunt of Real Radio. Real Radio, we had the competition that to come to somebody's house and hoover the house. And a woman from Bridge Allen paid 500 quid.
Did she?
Aye, for a charity. It was for the Sparks charity. Yeah. And I had to go to her house and hoover.
You checked her pipes off.
That was good. So maybe not as novelty a competition as I thought it was. Anyway, neither did I, Ali, believe me. Absolutely. What age was she?
She was 32.
So you
blonde. Only go over it yet.
Ruffy, you are a bad man. Anyway, apart from that, so we'll not do that competition after all. Trust me, you suggest it as well, and it's already been done. Well done to the boys who came up with it at Real Radio. Thanks very much to so many of you. Here's a great one. Gregor says, starting us off, I'm going to say hello to Errol and Tim and Paul, and Gregor says, Peter, can you inform Tam that despite him saying in Friday's show that Hearts have a good record at Pittodrie, they had in fact lost their last 6 games there before yesterday's defeat.
Talk about overall.
Overall, what, for the last century. All right, brilliant. Anyway, thanks to Tommy Adams, who always joins in from Thailand, and Hugh Scott as well. And I'm going to give a special mention. I should have actually mentioned it last week, Ruffy, but Ronnie Chapman, who won the gloves.
Yes.
He gave them away to the hospice, and he showed us a lovely letter, just sent it on to the hospice, and they were basically, I think they'll obviously look towards, putting them in an auction and gaining a wee bit of money for them. I thought it was a nice gesture by Ronnie, do you?
Fantastic. I think we all go to dinners, and worthy dinners when there are auctions on. You just hope that these things go for a lot more than what you think they would, and the beneficiaries are obviously the people at the charity.
Yeah, I've just confirmed there. Ronnie just showed me the letter, and it's St Andrew's Hospice who'll benefit from your gloves, Ruffy. So that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yep, well, they need used to auction it now.
Well,
and you could get 2 or 3 times what you ever thought you were going to get.
I think that's one of my fortes. Yep. Anyway, great little gesture there from Ronnie. Gives you an indication of the type of people who are watching the show. Thank you for that lovely gesture for St Andrew's Hospice. And Mark says, Peter, I have to say, after watching Real destroy Barcelona on Sunday, I'm dreading our visit to them. Mark, not looking forward to it from a Celtic perspective. So we shall see, because don't lose faith, Mark. Celtic hits Hibs for 6-1. It's a very, very famous score. Celtic 6, Hibernian 1, Ruffy. I have to add, because that's the scoreline that Celtic defeated Hibs in the Scottish Cup final, I think, in 1972.
Wow. Would Dixie Deans have been playing in that one? Did he score 2 or 3 in that game? He
scored a hat-trick.
He did, yeah.
I wonder if you can tell me who scored for Hibs.
I'm going to take a guess at John Blackley.
John Blackley, the centre half.
Well, Matt Stanton.
No,
midfield.
As a striker.
Forward.
As a striker.
Oh, I'd be guessing.
Yeah. Alan Gordon.
I was going to say Alan Gordon.
Yeah. Sure you are. So 6-1 in the end. Just before we talk about it, and I must just special mention, Frank McGarvey came out and made an emotional speech after obviously Frank's cancer diagnosis. I think everybody's just wishing him the very best in his battle against cancer. So it was nice to see him out there. I think it was his daughter he was pictured with, and I know the boys would have been there.
Yeah, the boys were there. They were in the director's box, I think. Yeah, it was quite emotional. Quite a bubbly character, Frank. And any time we've had him on the show, it's been great fun. So it's just sad to see something like that far too early. his life for that to happen to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a battle, and I think everybody on the football show wishes him the very best. And he would have loved. I must just tell you a Frank McGarvey story, which is incredible, by the way. I've told a few Frank McGarvey stories, but he did actually play against St Mirren one day. I'll never forget it. Played against St Mirren, his old club, one day for Celtic, and I mean, he got a standing ovation at half time, Ali, because quite simply in his usual, Frank did the most unorthodox way of playing. You thought he was falling over and he was actually beating a man, and then he swivelled round about 3 players and rifled one into the roof of the net, and he had such a great day. I think he scored a hat-trick that day, but he was unbelievable. It was such a great goal that they gave him a standing ovation going off the park. I mean, he was just outrageous. He was some player.
I think he would have been delighted with the reception that he got on Saturday at Celtic Park. I think you're right. I think it was his daughter who was with him when he went out, but he was visibly emotional, as you would expect. And I think you just, you wish him well. I think he's one of these real characters within Scottish football. Everybody knows him. Everyone's got a Frank McGarvey story. I think you would just wish him well now as he gets ready for what lies ahead in terms of the treatment and everything. Yeah,
absolutely. Celtic won 6-1. James Forrest scored a hat-trick, and he also bagged his 100th goal for Celtic, and as you would imagine, the Celtic player very proud.
It's unbelievable. I've said, maybe in the last kind of year, when I've got closer, more people have been mentioning it, and obviously with the team doing really well, maybe not played as much and stuff as well. So no, as I said, I'm absolutely delighted to first start of the season, help the boys. It was a great team performance, and obviously get another hat trick for the club and 100 goals is unbelievable.
He was getting a little bit like the forgotten man, although I always thought he had a contribution to make, Tam, because James Forrest, when he wasn't in the side under Neil Lennon in that dreadful season, boy, he was missed.
Yeah, it's actually a strange one, because I think a few of the Celtic fans were not turning on him, but they thought he was done, thought he was finished, and he was coming in and out the team, in the last season and a half. But he's got his opportunity on Saturday. As I said, his first start of the season. He took his goals well. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's still got a lot to offer. Obviously, Abada and Jota made all the headlines last season with the goals and assists, but when you look overall, James Forrest's contribution at Celtic in terms of goals, trophies won, even with international teams, scored a hat-trick against Israel. He's a top player, and he'll go down as a fantastic Celtic player. He's scored 100 goals. There's no many that's done that for Celtic, so I still think he's got a lot to offer at Celtic, and hopefully the fans now get behind him a little bit more.
That brings us nicely to the quiz question, because James Forrest is part of an illustrious group, players who have scored 100 goals plus for Celtic. How many of them do you think have scored 100 goals? Give us your answer, and we'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. How many players have scored 100 goals and possibly more than 100 goals for Celtic? We're looking for the figure there. Quite a good question, Ruffy. It's tough. There's not many who have been able to say that they've bagged those sort of figures.
No, it's a start, and I saw Ange talking about it. It doesn't matter what you do at a club with your money and whatever, but at the end of the day, it's when you finish your career, you go away and you're in the record books at a particular club you're playing about, and I think that's what matters to a lot of players now. That they do well financially, but you want to be in the record books. You want to have your name etched in there forever and be a legend, and that's what he is.
Yeah, I hate to digress, but Tam obviously at times loves to read the feed that comes in on the YouTube, Ruffy, because it relates to what we're chatting about from time to time. Look at Alison's face. Tam is spotted. Catherine Kelly says, "Can you tell Alan to come to Spain and do my hoovering?"
Should have said that a week ago. When I was in Spain, it would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Had you been there, it'd been easy to get there. But still, even though he's home, we will try and connect you so that Ruffy can get
we are going to Madrid.
Hey?
When are we going to Madrid?
Oh, there's a shout, by the way.
Anywhere near Madrid?
Catherine, we're going to Madrid for 4 days. a couple of them just to acclimatise, as you know, Ali, and then we're off to hey, we've got some good lunches organised, Ruffy, haven't we?
That'll do me, yeah.
We've got some really good stuff. We'll be doing shows from Madrid as well. So
it's not great with 2 E's, but it's better with 3.
It is better with 3, which is why we're taking the cameraman. So Catherine, don't lose hope. We're in Madrid from the 31st of October, Ruffy. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I've got my passport just sitting on the table, just making sure it's there.
Absolutely. And 10 years ago, was it a perm or was it a longer mullet?
Oh, it would be a longer mullet then.
Yeah, okay. So, Catherine, there's still hope for you there. We've got lots to talk about. Of course, the one thing I was going to just point out here is Ange Postecoglou, I always think managers, Celtic and Rangers managers, Ali, first year, love it. Second year, we chip away at them with our negativity, and then they get a little bit prickly, don't they?
Always. I think there's a first season syndrome where, you know, there's an element of charming people and an element of getting you on side, and then come the second season, if there's been a bit of success when you're not needed, you kind of dispense with any of the customary charm and get a bit more to the point.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that in mind, Ange is not happy with some of the reports over the last few weeks.
I said yesterday that some of the reporting around us has been fairly ridiculous. I don't know why everyone's lumping us in with other clubs. I just don't understand that. I think our performance at the Champions League level, knowing how difficult a level it is, I think we've fallen short in areas like, not taking our opportunities, which, again, I understand we need to improve that, but in terms of our will, our endeavour to play football, take on these teams that we've said we would, we've been doing that all along.
So, the manager's getting a little bit irked.
Do you think he's unhappy with getting thrown in with the Rangers? I think that's what he was.
I think the criticism was about the Scottish football, like the whole last week. The narrative was really that it's been an embarrassing week for Scottish football, and I think that's probably what got his back up.
Because he is right. Celtic have been excellent at times in games. The only thing that's let them down is the finishing. So I think when you look at Hearts and you look at Rangers in particular, they've not been great at all. But I think Celtic at times have looked as if they belong at that level. But unfortunately, it's okay, putting 6 by Hibs, but you've got to take your opportunities at Champions League level, because you're not going to create 9 and 10 chances. You're going to create 2 or 3, and you've got to take them.
And of course, it doesn't help when the PR people only put negative things down in front of them. I mean, that's all they do. You don't see. Oh, by the way, this was written and it was positive about your club. The only thing the PR people put in front of them, and I remember Martin O'Neill telling me this, just puts down negative things all the time. Look what he said about it. Look what he's saying on the telly. Look what he's saying on the radio. Look what they're saying on their show. That's all you get.
To be fair, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know about that. And I know that managers never read newspapers either. Like, I've never met a manager yet that reads a newspaper. They comment all the time.
Don't kid yourself.
Of course, but what I think, I thought he made a good point. I think there was 2 factors I think that really irritated him. And one was being lumped in with everyone, and the second one I think was the deserving to be there. Just this the attitude that maybe you've been outclassed and you don't really belong at that level. Now, he made an interesting point on Friday when he said that when you go back and look at the teams now that might be on similar budgets or financially comparable to where Celtic are, if they're doing well now, it's because they've been exposed to that level across 5 or 6 seasons. And I think that's a very valid point. I think when you've not been in the tournament for the 5 years that Celtic haven't, I think there is a vast curve that you go into where you need to learn and learn quickly. I think he'll be frustrated himself that they've not taken a couple of chances in games, because it could have vastly affected the outcome of what the table looks like. I'm not sure they would have won. It would have made a difference in terms of winning some of those games, but they might have picked up something. But you've seen them play in flashes, you've seen them play for maybe an hour, you've seen them acquit themselves reasonably well. I think they would have been satisfied for an hour with even the performance against Real Madrid at Celtic Park.
But what's your expectations? My expectations of Celtic in that group were not high to start with.
No, absolutely. And if Celtic were in a group that's the same as the group that Rangers are in now, I don't think they would have taken a point either. I think when you look at the calibre of opposition and you look where you are, I think it was always going to be a sobering experience. However, I can see why he's annoyed about the indication. Well, should you be there at all, and do you belong there?
Yeah.
I think you have to be in it to experience it and to get better at it, and also to take the revenue that it gives you and feed that back into your club and try and build towards a sustained level of involvement in it.
Yeah, okay, what about the Hibs, by the way? Was it more about Celtic being good or Hibs being atrocious?
Hibs were terrible. Hibs were shocking on the day. I mean, I looked at the first 3 goals that they lost. I mean, Lewis Stevenson's sleeping. Forrest's first goal, he doesn't know he's behind him, doesn't look round. You know, it's an easy finish.
Looks as if Porteous has moved to Celtic's over.
Unfortunately for him, the whole team was rotten on the day, and it didn't reflect well on him. I still think he's a quality player, and I think Celtic should definitely be looking to get him tied up on a free. But the goals they lost, David Marshall, he's been brilliant for Hibs, and he threw one into the net.
Yeah.
You know,
did it really matter at the time he threw it in?
No, but it's just, you know, in 3-4-0, you're thinking. Then Hibs, I think, were better in the second half, but Celtic took the foot off the gas. But Hibs were really poor, and it's disappointing because they were starting to just build a little bit of momentum, even though they lost against Dundee United last week. You know, they played really well, but that was a big step back for them. And the manager's comments after the game, I think he realised that a lot of the players froze on the day. They didn't embrace that challenge of going to Celtic and puff their chest out and believe that they belonged on that pitch with the Celtic boys. They froze on the day, and it was an easy day for Hibs.
Here's the Hibs manager, Lee Johnson.
If I was a player, I'd be knocking on the door, trying to get a shirt, and I'd be saying, right, tell me what you do. Please tell me what you do. Don't tell what you do every day. How do you wake up? What do you eat for breakfast? Would you stretch for 3 hours? How many weights do you do? Do you know what I mean? Because that's the standard, effectively, that the boys want to and need to be at.
Lee Johnson there, just talking about what his Hibs players need to do. Maybe take a leaf out of the Celtic players' books. Some of his comments in the aftermatch certainly irked more than a few fans. And of course, the other thing that he got clobbered for was, that kind of a man at CNA look. The only thing missing there, Ruffy, was a giant rock and the ocean just rushing in across his feet.
There are some managers that are trying to get the trendy look and the touchline. Some of them it works, some of them it doesn't. And he's one, it doesn't work for me.
His gear actually surprised me.
Boy, innit?
Oh, well, it was actually. It was just, I thought to myself, he's going out right after this game.
I mean, that's his style, that's the way. You're either a tracksuit, you're like a collar and tie.
I didn't really want you to comment on his fashion. I was just joking. But as far as his comments are concerned, you've played at Hibs, you've played at Celtic, you've played for Scotland. You know these levels, and maybe the point that he was making has got some validity on the basis that if you really want to put it in, if you want to become a top player, you've got to try and think about what are the top players doing that I'm not doing.
Well, it's hard to believe that the players at Hibs aren't doing it. The professional football players under his management, he should be making sure they're doing what they're doing. Not just, again, it's a manager coming out and having a go at 4 or 5 players without naming who they are. So it puts doubt on the rest of the squad. Is he talking about me? Is it him he's talking about, or whatever? I think when nowadays the modern professional is a professional footballer. You sleep it, you eat it, and that's the way it is. It wasn't in my day, we didn't do that. But nowadays I think the level of performance has got to be there. You can see the fitness levels on the park, and if you're not up to scratch, you're not getting a game.
I thought it was quite refreshing, but to see him complimenting Celtic on the way they went about his business. He was obviously standing at the side thinking, this is a proper team we're up against. He could see the shape of the players they were playing against, how strong physically they were, how quick they were. And I don't think he meant that literally. I think he meant that kind of metaphorically, thinking, this is the level that you've got to get to. Go into the gym, make yourself a beast. You look at Hatate and Maida, the difference names since they've came to Celtic, what they're eating. I thought he made a great point, but I don't know if he made it in the right manner with his words. But I think when you go up against, and I played against great Celtic and Rangers teams as well, when you come up against that, you come off and you go, what do I need to do to get to that level? And sometimes it is just going and building yourself up and making yourself quicker and stronger, and you can bridge that gap. But the gap on Saturday was huge between Hibs and Celtic.
Yeah, okay, from Hibs and Celtic to Fir Park, where it was Motherwell 1, Rangers 2, probably a little, not as comfortable as they would have liked, Ali, in the end. but they got there. One Tillman goal, which was a joy to watch him, he only had one thing in mind, but if you're a Motherwell manager, you're thinking there's only 5 Motherwell players there that could have taken him out before he got to score the goal.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking from the halfway line. He picked the ball up from Tavernier just right at the halfway line. He was allowed to run that whole distance without one even attempted challenge. You're saying he went through 5 players. There wasn't even one attempt to stop him, legally or otherwise. I think there's an argument that you would want your players just to be as cynical as possible when it comes to stopping him going through. I thought it was incredibly easy. I thought you took it well. It was a good goal from Rangers' perspective. In terms of losing it, I think you'd be incredibly frustrated at it.
Yeah, well, it was vital, I think, that Rangers bounced back, Ruffy, although there's still some people grumbling in the background about overall the manager, the way they're playing. He's got injuries as well.
Yeah, he's got injuries, but I think it's the manner of the defeats, particularly the Liverpool one, and fans need to be reassured that was just an odd one, but they had to win. They had to win at the weekend. They had to rest assured the fans that they were on the way back. It was a hard graft when the Motherwell goal went in. Obviously, there was a bit of edginess till the end of the game. There was a couple of wee chances here and there, but I think the second goal for Rangers sort of gave them that wee belief that they could see the game out. But it wasn't it was a grinding. It was one of the ones that's 3 points.
Yeah.
And let's just move on to the next game.
Yeah, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst had this to say about the overall performance. I think we need to improve in every area. That is obvious. The performance we had overall wasn't as convincing as the previous wins in the league. We need to improve that. In the first half, we couldn't come into the next phase as we weren't good enough in our build-up, not quick enough, and not trying to get a free man in midfield. I think we were too slow in our passing and movement. Okay, maybe a fair assessment of that. There was one contentious moment that I think Motherwell manager Stephen Hamill was far from happy with. He wanted a red card shown to Leon King.
I think it's a red card. I think it is, not for where it is in the pitch and where Stuart's going to. That's up for debate, but I think the actual tackle in isolation is poor. I think he catches him high and there's a lot of force in it, and I think Stuart's lucky not to come away with an injury in the back of it. But I mean, it's not something we're going to overly concerned about, but in my opinion the tackle was a poor tackle.
So Leon King, the tackle on Stuart McKinstry, should he have walked?
Not for me. I don't think it was a red card. I thought it was a poor tackle. I thought it was mistimed. I don't think it went to do him. I don't think it was reckless and dangerous. I thought it was mistimed. McKinstry's first touch takes him away from goal. I've seen a lot of Celtic fans comparing it to the Callum McGregor one at Parkhead. It's not comparable for me, because I think it was Tierney for Motherwell took his touch and was going clean through on goal.
Joe Hart was
off his line. He could have chipped. He was getting a clear goal scoring opportunity. McKinstry's gone away for goal. You can see in the picture Tavernier's coming back into cover. I'm not convinced he'd got a shot away. I'm not convinced it was a goal scoring opportunity. So I thought the referee called that one right. I thought it was a yellow card for Leon King. And it was a red card for McGregor against Motherwell. In fact,
Ruffy, to be honest with you, we're only weeks away from people obviously being able to say, well, hang on a minute, let's see what the VAR says on this.
Yeah, I think it's quite exciting coming in. I think it'll be good, and we keep saying if it gets it right in the big ones, fair dues, that's what we want to see. I do believe they were trialling it at Parkhead, weren't they? I think they had VAR there behind the scenes, but not obviously going to it or anything like that. So they're trying their best, to cut the minimum of mistakes down, and let's hope that was it Friday night the first game? And Friday night, that'll be super. It'll be a good wee test, and I'm sure everybody will be glued to see what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, Hugh Scott says, Peter, I don't think I can be feeling well. I'm actually agreeing with Tam. Just a couple of, just take it easy, get down there, maybe get a Lemsip. It could be the onset of flu.
It'll come round eventually.
Yeah.
It'll come round eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Listen, I think he's got a good point on it, but would it have affected the overall outcome of the game? It's open to debate, but in the end, Rangers got the crucial points there, and it's still nip and tuck at the top end of the table.
Good goal for Motherwell. Thought it was an excellent goal.
McGregor's got to be better than.
No, it was a flight. It was one of the ones that was up and then it came down again.
Ruffy.
Yeah.
No way.
It's one of those.
It's disappointing if your goalkeeper lost that.
By the way, he's looked at it. He's looked at it and said, "I think I might leave that." And then it's gone in.
Absolutely.
In the back of the net.
He went forward. They took a step forward and they couldn't go back.
Yeah,
but it was still a great hit.
Yeah.
Super hit. Oh, I thought it was a great free kick.
If you had lost that goal, would you have thought to yourself, Well, I'm a wee bit suspect
I'm
there.
still getting slaughtered for Andy Ritchie's goal. I thought that was a good goal.
Absolutely.
Did it, Morton?
Yeah.
The boy tried it again at the end, didn't he? McKinstry tried another one near post.
But, well, I'm surprised you said that, by the way. I thought McGregor would have been looking, thinking, oh, I should have gone for that, you know. But
I thought McGregor looked culpable at the goal.
yeah. Let's not start at McGregor looks culpable. There's already a big debate going on. Should he have been in? Should he have been out at the time? Ronnie says, Peter, can you give my mate Craig a big shout out from everybody on PLZ? Ronnie, because you've handed over Ruffy's gloves to St Andrew's Hospice, I think we can all say a big hi to his mate.
Hi, Craig. Hi, Craig.
Yeah.
Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Yeah, there you are.
Two highs.
I don't know about you, but when we have to do something a little bit out of the ordinary, Tam and Ruffy, they embrace it big style, but Ali just feels uncomfortable, you know, as if to say, I really don't want to do that. but nevertheless, she's pushed herself out there. Craig, you've got a big hi from Ali as well.
Craig play golf.
Eh?
Does Craig play golf?
Did anybody play
I'm looking for a new partner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Aberdeen 2, Hearts 0. The Dons are back.
That could have been 4 each. 4 half time.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the mistakes, and I hope they continue it this weekend, because if they do that against us, we'll thump them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll wait and see. Anyway, apart from anything else, I think the Dons needed that, according to the boss, Jim Goodwin.
Delighted, obviously. You know, I thought it was the perfect reaction to what was a very disappointing and embarrassing result for us last weekend. You know, we done that when we lost against Hibs at Easter Road. We bounced back with a great performance against Kilmarnock, and I'm delighted that we were able to do it again today after what was extremely disappointing last weekend. I think it shows the character within the group.
Peter, you've got to give them credit now, Aberdeen, on you go.
Well, I really want to, because I think I like Jim Goodwin as a manager, and I want Aberdeen to show something on a consistent basis, but I wouldn't be putting anything in a coupon with them. You never know what you're getting with them.
At home they've been strong.
Yeah.
They've been very good at home this season, so I think that was a great result. But Ruffy said Hearts missed 2 or 3 gilt-edged opportunities early doors. It looked as if it was going to kind of peter out with a 0-0, and then obviously Duke went through and scored a goal, and then the sub come on and clinched the game. But the sooner Hearts are out of Europe, the better. The Thursday, Sunday is killing them, and they're not that far off. I think they're only 3 or 4 points off of Hibs at the minute. They're not that far off of third place, but they need to get out of Europe.
Well, with all due respect, Robbie Neilson wanted to point out something that I think mitigating circumstances for why they're on this bad run.
You know, we're going through a difficult period. We've got 11 first team starters out injured, you know, causing for the culmination of the game. So we just need to dig it out. We need to get through it. I said all along, if we can get to the World Cup break in a position where we can kick on, that's going to be massive for us. And it allows us then to hopefully get ourselves back in another position like we did last year, finishing third, European football, to build again. The players get that experience of doing it back-to-back seasons.
That's an interesting one, actually, because at the start of the season, Robbie Neilson was talking about pushing Celtic and Rangers and trying to get second, but things happen over the course of a season that can derail you. Let's check out that injury list. Halliday, Haring, Boyce, Mackay-Steven, Ginnelly, Beningame, Atkinson, Rowles, Halkett and Smith. 2 or 3 of them, I think, are absolutely stone wall starters who've been really good for them. In fact, I could maybe go 4. I mean, Halliday contributes, but if the stonewall certainties, Boyce definitely. Beningame's been a huge miss for them. Halkett is a stonewaller as well, and Rowles. So even Peter Haring as well. I mean, these are big players, Ali. He's not making it up.
I also think it impacts hugely on the depth when you go into a game in terms of what you've got on the bench, how you can change it within a game if it's not going for you, if you can make the changes without weakening the squad that you've got out on the pitch. I think when you have got that volume of players out, that makes that quite difficult to do.
Yeah, anyway, Hearts have to try just to scrap for everything, and it won't get any easier for them in the league at the weekend because it's Hearts Celtic. We're going to talk about the Premier Sports Cup shortly, but a couple of games I want to get your thoughts on, lads. Ross County 1, Dundee United 1, Ruffy. It was a really good goal by Callaghan for Ross County, and Tony Watt managed to get the equaliser.
Yeah, I think it was a game of 2 halves again. I think Ross County were the better of the 2 in the first and the second half. Dundee United got forward a lot more, created a lot more chances, and I think they got a just reward. But as far as Malky's concerned, they just keep wanting to pick up points, and it doesn't matter whether it's 3 or 1. Every one they get, it takes them away from the bottom. So he seemed to be quite happy with that one.
Yeah, and Livingston, Bahambula getting the only goal of the game for David Martindale, but again they're heading in the direction where they want to be.
Yeah, listen, I think we all expect a tight game. You know, Livingston, St Johnstone. I think St Johnstone hit the bar early doors, unlucky, but you know, Livingston just grind it out at home. We were unlucky the previous week against Ross County to get beat, so I think they deserve to win the game. And David Martindale's doing a good job there. You know, he's not got a lot of money to spend. Not got a big budget, and I think he keeps punching above his weight at Livingston. Livingston should be bottom 2-3 in terms of budget, in terms of money they pay, and I think they'll be safe again this season, and they'll be pushing maybe to nick into the top 6.
Yeah, I certainly didn't tip them to get relegated. No. Did you, Ruffy?
No, I didn't, you know, because they just grind out results most of the time at home. Just a small observation from me.
Yeah.
I would like Livingston to put the TV cameras in the stand where there's nobody in, because I didn't think there was anybody at that game when I was watching the highlights. There was nobody in that stand, there was nobody in that one, and nobody in that one.
Yeah.
That's what I was seeing. It just looked awful.
Yeah, I know it does, but then again, it doesn't matter what way you look at it. Livingston don't have a huge fan base in there.
Yeah, but if the cameras are pointing where the stand's full,
maybe 1,000. Yeah,
what do you want to do? Do you want to put 300 over there, 300 there?
No, I want to put the cameras on that side so it's pointing to where the fans are.
It depends who they're playing, because if it's Celtic Rangers, that's Stoud. Hibs Hearts, that stand.
Just look terrible.
Aberdeen.
Yeah, I know.
It does look poor.
It does, but what can you do, Ruffy? Unless they really push the board out and make.
And they're giving a lot of tickets away, Livingston. I think they gave 300 tickets away to kids and all that. They're trying their best to try and attract
try and get
supporters,
them to
but it's difficult for them in between.
I feel sorry for the manager there, and when he is doing his best, and they should be getting bigger crowds.
It's just it's a catchment area.
Yeah,
it's in between, you know, Hibs Hearts, Celtic Rangers.
It's hard going.
Yep.
St Mirren against Kilmarnock ended up 0-0. Just briefly, Ruffy, because Trevor Carson made 2 or 3 good saves.
Yeah, he did terrific double save, good reaction save. You know, a couple of deflections that he got as well. Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. He's done well for them in there. But again, you know, I thought Lafferty should have scored his chance, and the other wee boy that up front, I think it was Mackenzie. I thought he had a chance, and they're the kind of chances that we're talking about at European level.
Yeah,
you should be taking, but at club level, you should be taking them as well.
Could be the last we see of Lafferty tomorrow night in the game Kilmarnock against Dundee United in the Premier Sports Cup, because Thursday's the hearing for him.
I think he will be banned. I think when you look at the severity of the punishment that was handed out to Jim Goodwin, and I know he's going to appeal it, but I think when you see that, I think it would suggest that there's a fairly hefty punishment coming his way.
Yeah, Killie against Dundee United in the Premier Sports Cup, the first of 4 games, 3 on the Wednesday. Killie against Dundee United out there. Speaking to Derek McInnes today was our reporter Adam Binney.
Thanks, Peter. I'm inside of Rugby Park just one day before Kilmarnock take on Dundee United here in the quarter-finals of the Premier Sports Cup. It's a huge opportunity for Killie. They haven't managed to reach a semi-final in this competition in 10 years. We were speaking to manager Derek McInnes, who was telling us about how he motivates his players for matches of this magnitude.
I just feel as though there's not, you know, what we don't want to be doing is sitting watching Dundee United turn up in Hampden in January, watching the game on the telly. You know, we want to be there, we want to experience it, and I want my players to believe that we should be there. So, you know, obviously you need a lot of things to go your way, but the most important part is, you know, having the approach and intent to go and win a cup tie-in.
Kilmarnock are just 1 win away from Hampden and 2 wins away from a place in the final. We were speaking to defender Ash Taylor, who knows all about the heartache of this competition, having lost the final with Aberdeen. He was telling us what it would mean to him if he were to add a domestic cup medal before he retires.
It's always nice to have those cup runs and those memories to look back on when you do win those medals. But no, it would be nice to finish my career with a domestic cup under my belt. But no, it's first and foremost we've got to deal with Dundee United to make sure we have that opportunity to get there.
If you'd like to stay up to date with everything going on in tomorrow's match, then PLZ Soccer is definitely the place to be. My colleague Kerry Pollock will be at Rugby Park tomorrow, bringing you live updates across our Facebook and Instagram stories, as well as our Twitter thread. But for now, I'll leave it to Peter and the panel to discuss tomorrow's match.
He's too good, that boy, isn't he?
He's getting better, aye.
Seamless.
Well,
Seamless.
It's all there. That's what happens, Ruffy. We're getting all the big reporters, Ali, Kerry, Adam, you know, a little bit of a difference in age, but nevertheless, between Kerry.
Didn't I feel it? Sitting next to the dinner, and Adam wasn't even born when 9/11 happened. There's a nice sobering wake-up call for you about just how old you are.
It is bad, isn't it? I mean, I used to get peeved if anybody was born after Kenny Dalglish signed for Liverpool in '77. Ruffy, now I'm just on a downward spiral.
Don't worry about it.
Anybody else here born in the 80s? Just me?
What year were you born?
81.
81. Wow, that's outrageous, isn't it? Wow, you were. Jeez, that's you were born 1981.
Yes.
Wow, just before the Dare album came out from Human League. That's bad, isn't it? Anyway, we'll talk League Cup in a minute. Just a quick one on here's the Premiership table. Tam, have a wee look at it, see what you think. Celtic still just with their noses out in front at the top. The bottom end, oh dear, you could throw a blanket over them.
Yeah, it's tightening up now. I think we went too soon with it's going to be a 3-horse race at the bottom. Yeah, St Johnstone all of a sudden starting to get pulled back into it again after a decent run of form. They've went off the boil a wee bit. Even Motherwell not that far off it, 4 points off it. So Hibs sitting in third place, but it's very, very tight. Aberdeen there, St Mirren there, Livingston. But what I would say about Hibs is the next 5 games they've got before the break, I think it's they've not got Celtic, Rangers or Hearts. Aberdeen away is their hardest game. They've got St Mirren, I think, Kilmarnock. They've got a great opportunity, Hibs, the next 5 games to put 10-12 points on the board and have a good gap going into the break.
Yeah, and as far as the predictor table is going at the moment, Ruffy, still a long way to go, but I think that's just an indication of the way it's going now, because we were scunnered last year, not really putting in as much effort as we should have been. But now there's a no-nonsense approach from me and you to this, and we're out in front.
Yeah, and is that equal? Are we equal points?
89, yeah.
And was it alphabetical that you're at the top?
No, age. So it's you and I are on 89. Tam McManus is on 86. Alison McConnell heading down the way on 84, and then Tam Gowan on 80. Hugh McDonald had a really good weekend. See, when you have 14 points, Tam, and you go to 65 now, suddenly he's got.
He could have had 16 if he went Rangers to win.
Well, he's
that could be his undoing.
It really is, isn't it? I mean, he's got to stick
with it. According to his comments on the chat, he'll be sticking with that all season.
Yeah. Well,
he's not for turning.
He's going to be taking us all out for a meal if he doesn't turn soon. But maybe that little burst of points will give him the enthusiastic fight back that he needs. Give me your prediction, Ruffy. Kelly Dundee United, Premier Sports Cup.
Am I right in saying that it doesn't go to extra time? It just goes straight to penalties. I think if it's, I'm going to go Dundee United. I think.
Yeah, to win it.
Just
to win it. Tam, where's your money?
I'm going to go for Kilmarnock at home. I think the last couple of games, I think they should have won on Saturday. They should have beat St Mirren. Should have beat Hearts, and then one prior to that beat St Johnstone. So they're starting to pick up a wee bit, Kilmarnock, and I just think they'll edge it in a very tight game, maybe 1-0.
Yeah, Ali?
Kilmarnock.
Home
advantage, I think, just might give them a bit of an edge.
Yep, I'm going to go Kilmarnock as well. I didn't know Ash Taylor was a Scouser, did you?
No.
That was news to me there.
Get out and about, Peter. You should get out and go to other clubs, other grounds.
So they're going to Celtic and Motherwell.
Aberdeen is...
and Hearts when you get hospitality.
Just out of curiosity. How many grounds have you been to this year? Not many. I've been about every ground, going to all the games, Ali. Although I haven't been up at Aberdeen when he was actually coming out for the press conference. Did you know he was a Scouser?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Look at that look of disdain she's giving me, Ruffy. She gave me that same look when she was like 5 points clear in the predictor.
It's nearly as bad as that one I had with the Aberdeen centre forward when I thought he should be playing for Scotland.
Yes, and he was born in Ireland. Yeah, absolutely.
So on that day.
Exactly, were you on that day? Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking, where is this going?
Yeah, it's almost like the guy who, I can't remember what show it was, but the guy who thought that what's his name, Antti Niemi should have been playing for Scotland. That was another one.
Finnish.
Yes, exactly.
No,
So that's the first of the 4 games that are on. I'm looking forward to the other games, Ruffy, on the Wednesday, which is Motherwell against Celtic, Aberdeen against your boys Partick Thistle, and Rangers against Dundee. Now, financially, it's a real bonus to be in the quarter-finals. Can you go one step further?
No.
I'd have been more confident if we were at home, but the boys are playing well. We're not losing that many goals, and we're always likely to get a goal. We tiffs back to form again. So it's going to be a hard one, there's no doubt about it, but at the end of it, it's a semi-final.
Yeah. What's the manager's mood like? Because I know at times he can be, boisterous, confident. Has he got that air of it's a chance to come against the big boys?
Yeah, it is, and he'll be relishing in that. I thought he was quite honest about the game on Saturday. I thought Hamilton should have taken something out of the game. They played really well, they had chances, but never took them. So, no, we'll go up there, and as I said, I think we all watched the Aberdeen game. If you're going to get chances like that, you've got to take them.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was 3 or 4, as Tam said.
What's your record like as a player when you were up at Aberdeen?
I used to like Aberdeen, yeah.
Yeah?
Not bad, yeah.
Did you do well?
Yeah, reasonably well, yeah. The club did reasonably well as well.
Yeah.
Good record up there.
And what about Fergie? Did you ever have any run-ins with him?
None at all.
No?
No.
Absolutely. It's very difficult to have a run-in with somebody who doesn't argue or get upset, as you well know from the golf, Tam. What was your record like at Pittodrie?
Okay, I think we had several clubs. Scored up there for Dundee against Aberdeen. But difficult place to go. I think it's a tough trip up there, and Partick Thistle are underdogs, but if Partick Thistle turn up and play well, Partick Thistle got some quality players. And if Aberdeen just get a wee bit complacent and think, it's a low lead team,
yeah,
then I think the Jags could cause a surprise, but I don't think they will. Be 3-0 Aberdeen.
Yeah, 3-0. I thought you were going to be. I could see it all coming there when you were boosting them. I'm going to go Aberdeen to win that one comfortably.
Same.
Yeah.
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 I would like to know why we're the only tie that's not live on the telly.
Yeah, you're miffed at that, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. It's financial rewards.
Yeah.
But listen, you get up to the game after. You get up to the game.
I should be leaving here at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, and I'll get up there about 7:30.
You got up to Aberdeen for 7:30. What are you doing? A hurry or jump jet?
Oh, I'll make it.
Yeah.
I made Inverness 7:45, leaving here at 5 o'clock. Yeah, if you're decent enough, you'll let me away a wee bit earlier.
With an average speed, with an average, he's running away early. I'm just about to say, with an average speed camera in Perth,
that's exactly
there's
right.
no chance.
Well, I'll make an effort.
Yeah, okay.
Got to support your team. Stop it.
Fucking Howie at that Cumbernauld junction.
Absolutely.
Never get through it.
You watch it in Aberdeen TV room at my house. We're going to remind watch it.
Yeah, Motherwell against Celtic. I just think domestically at the moment, I think Celtic have got the bit between their teeth. It's just the Champions League thing. I mean, that's the only thing that, if he's getting prickly about the Champions League, he's listening to maybe the odd one or two. I don't know anybody that's having a go at Celtic for what they're doing. If anything, it's taking chances is the only legitimate criticism. Domestically, when they get the chances, they look as if they're going to take them.
I would agree with you, or certainly you would agree with that on the evidence of Saturday afternoon. Prior to that, I thought the performance against St Johnstone and against Motherwell, I think Celtic looked quite leggy in both games. When you see the effect of kind of the dual challenges of playing in the Champions League and then getting into domestic games, I think it is quite exacting. When you look across Europe, you always tend to see it reflected in results, and you get some surprise results. But I thought on Saturday they definitely looked a bit more aggressive and purposeful again. I would agree with you. I think they looked, they just had the bit between their teeth again, and I wonder just how much that maybe came from the manager talking about the fact that people saying you don't deserve to be where you're playing, and maybe just go out and show why you got into that kind of company to start off with. But I think they won it for Park as well. I think I've seen quite a bit of Motherwell over the last few weeks, and you would laud what Stephen Hamill's trying to do. It's a very attack-minded setup. They're trying to be open, they're trying to play football, they're always trying to have a go. But just now they just look a bit down in their luck, just given recent results and the slide down just into the bottom half of the table.
Yep. Celtic by a couple?
I think so.
Yeah. Ruffy?
Yeah, I think so. I think the players that are coming in now, and been given a chance to establish themselves in that team are turning it on. You saw it at the weekend. I think you threw 3 of them in and they were all fantastic. So, no, I think Motherwell will be up against it.
Yeah.
Interesting to see if Forrest keeps his place.
Yeah.
He deserves to keep it.
It'd be a hard man to dump after.
He deserves to keep it. Even Aaron Moy, I actually thought Aaron Moy played quite well Saturday.
Yeah, I think the more people he's got actually pushing might help his cause. Motherwell, as you say, just need to get a wee bit of luck. I don't think it's coming on Wednesday night, Tam, you?
No, I'll go for 3-1 at Celtic.
Yeah, what about Rangers Dundee? Despite the fact that some people are saying that Rangers are not firing in all cylinders after that disappointment of Liverpool, I don't think Dundee are the team that's going to come and crack their nut.
No, I think it's a good tie for Rangers. I think they can mix and match. They can rest a few players. Dundee, I think all they want this season is to get back into the Premier League. This is a bonus for them. I think it'll be a tough game for Dundee. I think Rangers will win the game comfortably, but they aren't playing well. I think it would be good for the manager and the fans just for a convincing win. Just to take a wee bit of doubt away from them, because I thought they were up until the goal on Sunday. I thought they were poor yesterday. Sorry, so. They'll be looking for a convincing win just to get the fans and that back on side.
Yep. Okay. I think Rangers will win by a couple.
No, I think Rangers will win 3-0.
Yep.
Easily. I think it'll be quite emphatic. I think the fact it's at Ibrox, you would expect them to go out and win comfortably. It might have been a bit stickier if it'd been up at Dens Park, but I think it'll be fairly straightforward.
Okay, here's the English Premier League results from the weekend as well. If you were watching some of the English football, Brentford 2 past Brighton, Leicester 0-0 with Crystal Palace, and of course Brendan getting a little bit prickly down there as people think he is heading out the door at some point. Wolves edged it against Nottingham Forest. It was Fulham 2, Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 2, Everton 0. Some people looking at Tottenham and wondering, Tottenham, Arsenal, can they derail Man City's march to the title? Southampton and West Ham shared at 1-1. No score between Man United and Newcastle. Arsenal again, Saka with the winner against Leeds. And Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard under real pressure now. Chelsea dispatching 2 past them, and a lot of Villa fans not happy with Steven Gerrard. And the game of the weekend, which was absolutely fantastic to watch from a Liverpool perspective. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed Mo Salah racing away to score the goal and win it for Liverpool. And here's the reaction of both managers to that win.
Of course, red card, my fault. I went over the top in a moment. I don't think it was disrespectful to anybody, but when you look the pictures back, I know myself in 55 years, the way I look in these moments is already worth a red card. I know that. Who cares what I say?
The referee spoke with my assistant coach Rodo, and Jurgen said, okay, I'm not going to make faults until it will be clear. And all that game was play on, and play on, and play on, and play on. Except the goal, because we scored after it's not play on. So this is what happened.
I love that. That's one of my favourite clips of the season so far. Pep Guardiola, Klopp sent off because he was absolutely raging at a foul that should have been Liverpool's, and then Pep Guardiola raging because, quite simply, he's not happy the game was pulled back, but Haaland dragged him down.
It was a foul, but how far do you go back? I mean, there was still 3 or 4 passes, then a shot, and then a finish. So it was a foul, so I can understand why he's pulled it back, but I think it should just be in that phase of play where the goal is, rather than going back, 2 or 3 passages of play.
So I think 2 or 3 passages of play.
Well, was it?
Well, he dragged the ball. He dragged him down when he had the ball.
But then there was enough 2 or 3 passes, then a shot, and then the keeper spilled it and they finished.
Yeah.
So I thought Man City were very unlucky, but it was a great game. Could have went either way, and Liverpool back the title race, no, but I think it was a great result for Arsenal and Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a foul.
Yeah, losing ball there.
So he's dragged him down. My God. But anyway, apart from that, did Liverpool deserve to win?
No, I thought that both of them gave it a good shot. There wasn't a lot of goal mouth incidents, but a lot of quality on show. I certainly never saw the pull of the jersey initially. I thought it was pulled. The VAR was for the goalkeeper complaining that he'd had the ball kicked out of his hands. I never saw the tug in the jersey until
it wasn't a foul in the goal either.
Yeah. It wasn't a foul in the goal.
Ali?
What are you asking me? Is it a foul or was it a foul?
Was it a foul?
I can agree with Tam. I have to say, I think
not
when you're allowed
to agree
it,
with Tam.
I think twice in one day.
Even Hugh Scott's agreeing with Tam on the feed.
I think when you let it go so long, I think there does come a point where you've moved on.
Yeah, absolutely. You're losing touch with reality,
Good.
Ali. That's just all I can say.
It was good that Pep kept control of himself after that.
Absolutely. Nevertheless, you're right, Tam. It doesn't matter for Liverpool, but it really was a confidence-boosting one. The one thing I noticed from the weekend is sacked chants from the ground when Chelsea dispatched 2 past Aston Villa. They've just got 9 points from 10 games this season, Villa. He's under real pressure.
Yeah, he is. Well, depending how the next 2 or 3 games go, because if there is a gap appears, we know what happens with the owners of English clubs down the bottom of that league. They don't hesitate, and they won't hesitate just because it's him. You know, there's so much money at stake, and they need to stay in that league. They're a big club, and they need to be winning games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what the hold up is in Brendan Rodgers. Everybody's suggesting it's going to be this week he gets sacked or the next week, even when people are talking about it. I don't know about you, but is it fair to say, by the way, they're not to the manager's face, they're not sacking you because of the compensation?
Yeah, I think it's quite unedifying, I think, to be talking about things like that. And I think when you're already under pressure and you already know the precarity of your position, I can see why you would get the kind of reaction that you get today when you push it. And to be fair, if you're a manager in that position and you're offered a salary and you're offered a contract, you take it, and you take it knowing that there's an insurance policy there. I don't think that's up to you. That's up to the club when you're offering contracts to think of it from every single angle and what happens when you get into a position like this. I think it's almost a question that goes above his pay grade. It goes to the board rather than it goes to the manager.
Yeah, I'm on Brendan Rodgers' side on this. Sit in, wait, take your money when it comes, because quite simply there's been a shift in the board stance. They've just decided they're not going to spend any more money, which is their right. You know, they've just said we're not going to go and blast the budget. Whereas before, I think the dad, who sadly passed away in the helicopter crash, was of that attitude of this is an enjoyable plaything. But suddenly, when you get rich owners that decide enough is enough, Tam, you are in a precarious position.
There is more chance of Ruffy holding a 3-foot putt than there is Brendan Rodgers walking away for that contract.
Yes.
So he will be sitting tight and waiting for the chop, and then his bank account getting filled up again, and he'll go on his merry way somewhere else.
Yes, absolutely. And we just wait to find out who that club will be. Listen, hit the subscribe button on our channel if you can on YouTube. We'd be delighted if you could share it with your friends and tell everyone, Monday to Friday, 4 o'clock. But PLZ Soccer is 24/7. There's so much content on there, one-to-ones, dream teams. And of course, we've got the reporters out at the grounds. If you download the app, you'll get all the breaking news stories as they happen as well. It's well worth it for the app, the website, and of course the YouTube channel if you want something to watch that's absolutely free and of course uncensored as well. You get an opinion on the programme, wee bit of banter here and there, and you get a chance to mix with people who also watch the programme, and you can chat with them hopefully in a decent manner. Last point before I give you the answer to the quiz, it's the 66th Ballon d'Or, which will be announced tonight. I think there's a wee sniff that the favourite has been announced ahead of time. There is a suggestion there's been a leak, and everybody knows who the winner is going to be. Nothing worse than that, is there, Ali?
No, there's not actually. But
yeah.
although
Here's a picture of him anyway. There's there's Benzema. What do you think?
what on earth are you trying to say?
I'm just saying somebody might have leaked it, and he looks as if he's the man. Can you argue with it?
No.
No. Some player, isn't he?
Oh, extraordinary. Really extraordinary.
Yeah. He's absolutely magnificent. Here's some of the players who are up for it, who could be runners-up to Benzema. But there's more than a few absolutely top-drawer players in there, Tam. For many a year, we were just obviously saying, was it going to be Ronaldo or Messi?
Well,
now it's not so much that.
Times it's amazing, isn't it? Times have moved on. It was always Messi v Ronaldo every year, you know, for me growing up. But now the two are obviously getting on in age, and I think you've got the new crowd coming through, but there's a few in there I'm not so sure should be in there.
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I'm amazed at some of them who are getting a mention.
But Erling Haaland could be the man to dominate that for years to come.
Yeah.
Judging in the last couple of months.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, Ruffy, how many Celtic players have scored 100 goals or more?
I'll take a guess at 17.
17 in over 130 odd years of history. 17. Okay, that's interesting. He's the 30th?
I think so.
Yep. Yeah. No point in asking you, because you read every stat that I've written down on the programme.
That is 30.
It's 30 was the answer we were looking for. Lee Griffiths was. Can you imagine how many goals Lee Griffiths would have scored if he'd applied himself, Ruffy, and he'd been fit? He'd still be at Celtic right now.
Well, one season he had 40.
Yeah.
Ronnie Dyer.
Then another season he was on 28 and he got injured or something happened, so easy meat for him.
You weren't far away with 17, Ruffy.
Yeah, that was good. It was worth a guess, Ruffy.
Did I get 5 bonus points? For the predictor?
No, Ali, you just got to hang in there and hope you can hang on, Ruffy, and my coattail all the way to the end now.
Finish 5th.
That's exactly it, Tom.
I am not even looking at the top end of the table. All I'm looking about is you.
Yeah, exactly.
I want him down in the dirt for the next 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel says 30. I win. Where's my Xbox? Daniel's even picking what the prize is going to be, and we're not even having that competition yet. It's close to Christmas when we give away an Xbox, Daniel. So calm your jets. That's usually when we get it. And also about that, Hugh Scott says, Peter, have you found those Europa League final programmes yet? Ruffy, that's my mission this week, to find Rangers against Eintracht Frankfurt, and I can give that away with the Rangers strip we've got there as well from that year.
I was looking at one of my drawers. That's the right word. Since I'm living myself.
So you were
I was looking, pulled out
one of your drawers.
And I found these Europa Cup final ones that we have got a winner. Remember we helped ourselves. I might throw one of them in.
Well, what, from 2003?
Yeah, I think I've got.
No, you've got a 2008.
No, I've got a Seville one and I've got a Manchester one. A Celtic
what have
one.
you got?
It's a press pack.
It's a press pack.
Oh,
you get the programme and you get all the notes for the two teams involved. And Ruffy and I just spotted at that point that everybody had theirs and there was a big batch left. So we decided, in 2 separate years to help ourselves.
So if
what do you make of him? Drums.
So if I've got three of each, I'll donate one each.
What?
If I've got 3 of each?
Just out of curiosity, I'm trying to find Eintracht Frankfurt. We're going to give away in a competition.
That wasn't at that game. I've not got any of them.
No, I've got that. I'll find that. Hugh, I promise I'll find that. I know you're mentioning it. We'll give away some really good prizes. And you bring them in?
I'll bring them in, yep.
Fantastic. He's on his own at the moment, Ruffy.
When's my wife back, Ruffy? Don't know.
Tomorrow night, I think.
Thank God for that. I thought there was a story. Developing there.
The dishes must have piled up in the sink.
Absolutely.
Not at all. I like keep the place tidy.
Yeah, he's been hoovering
you
and
never
everything.
know who might come in.
Exactly. Anyway, the good news is the wife's back tomorrow, which obviously completely and utterly blocks the chances of Ruffy getting a flight tonight to see Catherine in Spain. So with that in mind, join us tomorrow if you can, because Hugh McDonald, who's at the foot of the predictor table, will be with me to look ahead to all 4 of our Premier Sports Cup ties. Hit the subscribe button on Monday to Friday at 4 o'clock. We're live. You can watch it at your own leisure, not only on the website but on the app as well as our YouTube channel. Tell your friends, spread the word. Thanks to Ali, thanks to Tam, and from Ruffy and myself, thank you very much for watching.